Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter. Hey, fine folks. This is Freedom Fighter. Waiting on the world to change. I love that song. Love it. Today is Thursday, September the 12th, 2024. We have a special call for you all tonight. And I know that many of you have been waiting patiently for this call to happen. Of course, we have the one and only Wiley, and we have two very special guests, and I'm going to introduce all these wonderful folks here in a little bit. But first, let's get some announcements out of the way so that we continue to allow people to learn who we are, what we're doing. First, we have, of course, Goldilocks QFS Dialogues Room, where many of you are already members. If you have questions regarding the articles by Goldilocks, where Goldilocks shares the facts and the updated real-time information pertaining to the RVGCR from around the world, from all the various government, financial, and technical agencies that are responsible for the RVGCR, that is the room, Goldilocks QFS Dialogues, where myself, Jester pops in, my brother from another mother pops in and helps us as well. And then Wiley is in the room blessing us almost on a daily basis, and with not only his knowledge and his wisdom, but his comedy as well. And then also, we have Big Dog that pops in once in a while, D as well, and of course Lady E, who is our guardian angel. Specifically, I know my guardian angel, who has my back, who also drops her knowledge in the room. And then speaking of D's economics as well. D's room is where D drops a ton of articles as well pertaining to the RVGCR. And then speaking of Dave Big Dog, that's Crypto Finance Times, is a room also where if you want to know just about anything related to crypto, that is the room that you are more than welcome to go into. And then, of course, Goldilocks QFS Dialogues is from 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 4 p.m. And then Jester's Place is also on Monday through Friday from 8 p.m. to 11, and this is Eastern Standard Time. And if you want inside scoop as well, coming from UST or what's happening globally with the RVGCR and fun and facts, that's Jester's Place for you. And then, of course, Higher Learning on Thursdays with Anastasia. And tonight, of course, we will be with Anastasia at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where this is where we elevate our spirit to a whole nother level of understanding from Anastasia, who many of you already know that she is the one that introduced me to the RV back in 2013. And she is also my guardian angel here on earth. And then, of course, we have our podcast, our daily podcast, which is Goldilocks Global Banking News, where we have literally over 100 countries that are subscribed from around the world with thousands of members who are tuning in to obtain the facts by Goldilocks on that podcast from Goldilocks Global Banking News. It's growing. It's and by leaps and bounds, and we are proud and we're grateful for all of you who are subscribed. So please subscribe, like, and share that channel so we can continue to get the word out and help people to become aware of the facts related to the RV GCR. Tonight, our special guest will be Brunette Gran and PR, but we have, of course, the one and only Wiley, who some of you may not know who he is. I'm going to give you a brief introduction. He and Wiley really doesn't need an introduction in the world of the RVGCR, but some of you may be new. So I'll let you know Wiley participated in the Kuwaiti RV. He also is not only a Iraqi a humanitarian with Iraqi projects, but he's a global humanitarian as well. He is a retired Army Ranger and served in Iraq as well, special ops. And he also is a former advisor to the Iraqi government and a former advisor to the Iraqi prime minister, and also did security detail, which is a nice way of saying that he was the bodyguard for the Iraqi prime minister. And Wiley is a lot more knowledgeable than many people as it comes to the RV, because this gentleman, you're talking about the term boots on the ground. He was literally boots on the ground in Iraq. And so when you listen to this man speak, and he shares not only his wisdom and knowledge related to his time in Iraq, what he's learned from not only Iraq, but also Kuwait, but his global presence, but also his work and effort, like I said earlier, as a global humanitarian, someone who has extensive experience and with wealth managers, private client wealth managers, and also CPA. He has a team for himself, for his portfolio. So when he shares a lot of his wisdom, I call Wiley's wisdom, he's speaking from firsthand experience, not second, third party, not my high-level sources told me, none of that. It's his firsthand experience, and also his firsthand experience participating in the Kuwaiti RV, firsthand experience dealing with the Iraqi government. So this is who Wiley is, and he's much more than that. But I know some of you are new and you're just not aware. So I wanted to make sure I take that time. And a lot of you aren't aware that Wiley was the absolute person that in the old room, I say the old room, when I was in that room and began to be a little more vocal and share my experience and knowledge and helping people in the room, it was Wiley. I was watching him as he participated in the room and helping to educate folks in that room. And then I was honored when he reached out and asked me to be a part of his team. And a lot of my communication skills in the Telegram room and a lot of the information I have is from watching Wiley. And then also it was Wiley who made a point of emphasis to establish relationships with wealth managers. And so with my background and experience in international banking, when I was a board member, I knew very well what Wiley was saying was very true and very effective in establishing those relationships with wealth managers. And so that brings us to this call today, because we have several members, of course, that were in the old room and transitioned here to the new room who they have established relationships with wealth managers. Some most recent as a few weeks ago at big banks, where the wealth managers have allowed them to know, yes, this is happening, back to months ago with establishing relationships with wealth managers. And so these wealth managers that work at these big banks, there was a time when the staff just literally could not and would not talk to anyone as a client who had any questions related to this event, but some of them are talking now. And our members who have followed our instructions and followed our advice, and they've established those relationships, they now know already who they're going to be doing their exchanges with. That is by way of large in part because of the guidance that Wiley began in the old room. And then I took the torch, if you will, and the baton and continued those efforts. And that leads us to tonight, where we have two members, PR and also Brunette Gran, that took the questions that Wiley shared, the questions to share with your wealth manager to get answers to certain questions. And then, lo and behold, Brunette Gran and PR took those questions from Wiley to their wealth managers. Their wealth managers answered those questions. So these folks are beyond prepared. When it's time for them to exchange, they know exactly who they're going to exchange with, where they're going to exchange at. And they also, and I'm sure Wiley will touch on this as well, tonight, they will be guided through the process of maintaining their wealth as well based on these relationships. So, Wiley, I believe you are here, my good man. And if you can...
Can you hear me?
Yes, indeed. I can hear you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to shorten my intro up to just, here's Wiley.
I like the red. I like to roll the red carpet out for you, man.
I appreciate that.
You ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, let's hit the ground running.
All right. So let me see. Let me go here. All right. You want to I think you're going to jump into some concepts on wealth and money. Then we want to bring Brunette Gran and PR on. How do you want to?
Yeah. Let me just start off here, and then we'll go from there.
Cool.
Hi, I'm Wiley. I was taken by Guru Fufu. I've been Guru free for 15 years, 4 months, 2 weeks. I'm sorry. That's my meeting after this. I'm sorry. Wrong notes. No, seriously, folks. Tonight's kind of important, and two people in the room, just in the same situation as you are, took the initiative, stepped out of that comfort zone, and went and started this conversation with their wealth advisory and starting to build that team. If I can, let me share just had to visit with somebody from my team just today. Since 2022, I keep getting a tax bill, and I've had my tax professional look at it multiple times, file the paperwork, and they keep coming back about every 6 to 8 months, like clockwork. Well, yeah, it's disconcerting that I keep getting this, but today I finally sat down with my tax attorney. He called the IRS directly and pretty much just said, listen, we filed this paperwork 3 times. We want you to adjudicate it today on the phone when we're here. And the nice part about this, I just sat back and was on my phone texting with all of you while I listened to that man handle my business. That's the importance of having a team. And I can't stress that enough. So with that a little bit, it's important that we get this wealth advisory. And the reason we want that wealth advisory is because we want to maintain wealth. and not just maintain wealth. We want that to work for us, so we in turn will wind up having generational wealth. And that's completely doable, but it takes time, but you've got to have a team that you can work with to make that happen for you. So, and that's my platform speech tonight. So if we can, and I know these two gals are a little nervous tonight. So we're going to go easy on them, but if we could get whichever one's available at the moment, PR or Brunette Gran, if we can unmute one of them, and we'll talk about their experience.
Okay. Brunette Gran and PR, you ladies can unmute.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, my beautiful Brunette Gran. And then,
how are you this evening, Brunette?
I am perfect. I've got Taylor Swift in my ear saying "Shake it off," so I'm fine.
Excellent, excellent. Shaking off that guru foo-foo. Well, let's kind of get to it tonight if we can. Jump right in. Now I know you took those questions and you took that to a wealth professional that you had looked at, and you felt you had a comfort with, or we're going to get a sense of comfort with them. Kind of in your own words, can you tell us how that process looked like, what you did, and then in that, kind of tell us the overall experience you had in that and coming out of that.
Okay, just go over a little bit of a note. Won't get into too much, but I did go in. That was my first step, was going in. I did open up a savings account. I did meet with the relationship banker, and I asked him who else was in the bank, the wealth manager, private client, banker, everybody. So I got all their cards. I did talk to a couple of them. The ones I really wanted to talk to wasn't there at the time. So what I did was I just waited another week or so. Then I went and called back up there and set up an appointment with the private client advisor and the wealth manager. And we got to talking, and I just explained to him what was taking place, that I was going to be having an inheritance coming in, and I really wanted to know all the positions and what they did. And so they explained. I got all their business cards, and they explained. I was really impressed with the fact that when you ask them a question, they don't hee-haw around. They come out with the answer right away, which I like that, because I want somebody that's confident in what their answer is going to be and all that. But I'm really satisfied with who I've got. I really am.
And yeah, because these individuals are pretty matter of fact and serious folks. As you get to know them, you'll get to know their personality a little better once you build that rapport. But in that, building that comfort level, did they kind of get to know you a little bit and ask some questions about you as far as what you're looking to do and how they might be able to help you in that? And did you start any paperwork like a CIS or KYC or any of that? So it's getting to know you.
No,
Okay.
they just asked me what my goal was, what I wanted out of all of this, and what my plans were in the future. Now in the future, and and in the near future and the future, ahead. And all I did mention that that I just want to be able to learn how to manage my money without being broke in like 4 to 5 years. I don't want to be like these lottery winners where I'm going to go in and have this money and then it's going to be gone. I want to be able to manage it. I want to be able to know how I can make money with my money instead of losing it.
Right. And did they speak to that directly for you about how they could help you?
Oh, yes. Yeah, they just said there, and then depending, he just kept saying that later on, he said we have like over 2,200 different products and plans and all. He said we just, whenever you get ready, he says we most definitely will have the right plan that you are that will fit your goals that you're looking for. But I mean, he was really confident in the fact that he would be able to reach my goals. I mean, there was no doubt about it. I mean, he was, I mean, I just enjoyed the conversation, but like I said, he was confident in his answers. He proved that. And then also his other team member there, he was there too as well. He's the assistant vice president. He was there also, private client banker, assistant vice president. So I got to meet all of them.
And how'd that make you feel when he told you there's 2,200 different programs he can help you with?
Well,
because I guarantee you, I couldn't list 4 or 5 that I'm in, because it's just there's so much they do for you. How did that make you feel when you heard something like that?
Well, I felt like that was a little overwhelming in with. I mean, that's a lot of product. That's a lot of product.
That is a lot.
Right off the bat, it was just a little bit overwhelming at first when I heard 2,200 products. And hopefully
but in that
narrowed down.
Right. And they're going to help you be able to narrow that down. Then you know the ones that you're going to be in, you can start looking at those and see how they're performing. And then you're able to go back to them and say, hey, what else do you have on the table? Some of these aren't meeting the metrics I want to meet, or is there some avenues we can do some other things? Man, having 2,200 at your fingertips with these guys, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And having a professional to manage 2,200 free. I mean, could you imagine you as yourself trying to manage your money and there's 2,200 different things you're trying to manage?
No.
I'm not saying you're going to be in all of them, but I mean, there's 2,200 out there. You're just like, oh my gosh. And there's more than that, but they have 2,200. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
If you could, and I won't keep you because I want to get the PR too, and we can keep discussing about this in the Q&A we'll do at the end. What advice would you give somebody listening to this call and encourage them to start talking to a wealth manager, or at least get that ball rolling?
The one thing that I stress a lot is you have to be prepared ahead of time. It's going to make it so much easier when this takes place. When you have everything in place to begin with, it's going to be so much easier. I mean, I felt when I got all of this taken care of, I felt such a relief, such a weight off my shoulders, because I know exactly who I'm going to be with, where I'm going. I mean, it just makes it so much easier. Just do it. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Just do it. Strike up a relationship. Get to know wherever you're going to do your exchange at. Get to know them. I mean, they're just like everybody else. I mean, they got more experience, but they love to hear from someone that wants to be their client and what their needs are. So I can't stress enough. Just be prepared ahead of time. Just do it.
Such great advice. And this is what I call the getting to work phase. I mean, waiting around for this to happen, that's the easy phase. Listen to everything that's out there. That's the easy phase. I mean, yeah, it's important that we understand what's being built, how it's being built. But the more important thing is to be willing to learn about it and how you're going to manage it downstream. And that's the importance of the step you took, is getting to know that wealth manager, building that rapport, because this is only a first step of that getting to work, because I don't know if you remember the call about the circles of influence I spoke about, but you're going to need to be pulling other people into your team as you start seeing dividends come in and things like that. Now, these people can help with some of the tax aspects, but I would always encourage you to do the work to get, a CPA or somebody that understands what you're doing and can help you with that long term as well, and keep building your team.
Yes. Matter of fact, I used to have some businesses, so I've already got those in mind.
See, you're already off to the races.
Yeah. It's been a while since I had, like a barbecue place. We owned a lumber yard back in the 80s. So, we've got people that we've already had used in the past. So, yep.
Yeah, and if you're able to lean on those people a little bit. And I don't remember, but I don't know if I read it in the room or somewhere where somebody said that their person was quitting because they weren't understanding all the new rules coming out. And that's fine, because some of these individuals in this sphere are probably leaning towards retirement a little bit. And that's okay if you find somebody new that's starting to understand what's going on economically as far as our changing world, as far as finances. So don't be afraid to get somebody new either, but you want to find somebody who's got a little bit of seasoning with them, that they've done this for a while.
Yes.
I want to ask you one other question, Brunette Gran, if I can. Did you check the credentials of your person in FINRA?
Yes.
What'd you find?
He is FINRA. As the matter of fact, on the question there, he did state in there that brokercheck.com for his credentials. There's no disclosures. 8 years experience with 9 firms, 4 exams, and 9 state licenses.
Excellent. Did you tell him you checked him out? Because I know somebody I talked to on the phone that I worked with. She flat out told them, "Hey, I checked you out," and that person said, "Good for you."
Yeah,
he encouraged it, and he was glad he did it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're all right.
Was when he sent me this email, I did go back the next day and say, "Thank you for your email. I did check out your credentials. I am satisfied. And thank you for answering all my questions in detail," because he did put everything in red to where it was so much easier to read, and it's all detailed. So I did thank him, and I did mention that.
And he answered every one of the questions that I put in I had Freedom Fighter put in the room.
Ones.
I'm sorry, I stepped on you. What was that?
Plus the 3 fun ones.
What did he say to those? Just out of curiosity. What did he say?
It was, what are some of your favorite books? The one that he finished was The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel.
Mm-hmm.
And that one I think I'm going to read, because it explores the strange ways people think about money. And then what else was it? It was, it was Timeless Lessons on Wealth, Greed, and Happiness. And then it just explains people how they think about money, and then how to make better sense of one of life's most important topics. So it's the psychology of money. The second question was, what do you think the attributes of a great private wealth manager are? He said, I would say integrity is the foremost attribute, as well as being approachable and accessible to clients. Too many times I hear from clients that they liked their previous manager, but they could never get a hold of them when they really needed help. And then the last question was, tell me something about yourself that's not on your resume. And he stated, I wanted to study music in college and begin school as a music technology student after receiving a percussion scholarship. I then interned as a sound engineer working with the Kansas City Symphony, and decided that it would be difficult to balance a family and work evenings. So then he switched. His second choice was financing and accounting. And then he said he really took it from there.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That's great to hear. I mean, and now you've got a little bit of personal along with the professional side of that to help you balance that rapport, to give you a good feel about the individual themselves outside of just the credentialing.
Yes.
And can I ask you real quick, because I know one of the questions was how accessible are you? What did he say to that as far as what his approach was. Did he get into that a little bit? Like email works great, text works great, or call, or what? Did you get a feel for that about how that would work for you? Because I think you have emailed too, or maybe that was somebody else I spoke to.
No, it was one of the questions. I'm trying to find which one that was. Let's see. Okay, it's question number 7. What when contacting you, will there be regular meetings when we need them, or when issues arise throughout the year? So then he did state that we will have standing appointments to review your accounts and strategies. I treat my practice like a doctor's office in that I want to know the next time you're going to be coming in before you leave. Of course, you are always welcome to make additional appointments when there is changes to your goals. I do partner with other professionals and can help you connect with them. My local team consists of the branch partners, including bankers, home lenders, branch managers, and business professionals. I lean on blank blank to help guide the investment decision making, and then have them one of the largest and most robust research and investment teams in the world.
So he has a team that
Yes.
just became part of your team.
Yes.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
The business relationships and connections that he has to help you and what you choose to do downstream, whether on the project side or business side later on.
Yes.
Outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also did state in question 8 a little bit there. He did state that he is unlike the other professionals. We do get access to his direct line, and then he's always available during a weekend or market holiday, and he can get back to you if he's in another meeting right away.
Excellent. Excellent. Freedom, do you want to chime in on anything with Brunette Gran?
Wow. I'm just floored of how much detail, Brunette Gran, you were able to get from this wealth manager, from those questions that Wiley put out. This is amazing because you were able to get not only his professional approach and understanding of what he's involved with in his team, like Wiley said, which is now part of your team, but you got personal information out of him as far as his aspirations in the music. And this is where that's a part of getting to know who you're doing business with. Because the key about doing business is people are comfortable with doing business with people that they are comfortable with. And when you get those personal connections, you become more comfortable, and they become more comfortable with you. I am amazed of the detail, the information. Brunette, did it seem as if in any way this person, and this is, I ask my rhetorical questions for as a teachable moment. Did you see it? Did it seem in any way that he was reluctant or hesitant at all?
No, no way.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like talking to somebody that I work with, or basically what it was like was talking to one of my employees that I work with, that I work with. I mean, it was like, it was so, I don't know, it was just relaxing.
and liberating that you got it over.
Uptight with and nervous or anything. It was just like, oh my goodness, it's so. And matter of fact, it started with the relationship manager when I opened my account, because he used to work where I work at now. So
okay.
How much peace of mind do you have right now, Brunette Gran? How much peace of mind do you have that when this happens for you, you could go right to them and say, "This is where I am. Let's get going."
100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. Wow. And Brunette, she had mentioned so many different things that that's just, I'm sure, would be such an impact to people if they hear her experience, because Wiley, she makes it seem so matter of fact.
Yeah.
There was. Go ahead.
Let me ask Brunette Gran. Did my questions help you? Was that helpful to have that to kind of lead in a bit for you?
Almost certainly. That made it a lot easier. That made it a whole lot easier, because when you're going into this, we don't really know what to ask. We're not professional in this, so it always helps to have somebody that knows all about this and what we should ask. Oh, most definitely. And I thank you, Wiley, for these questions. They help a lot.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a hugger, but I'd give you a hug right now if I saw your Brunette.
I have another quick question for you.
Well.
Oh, yes, beloved. Another quick question. Now that you have gone through this experience of establishing this relationship, and folks, I know some of you may want to know the name of the bank, but we don't want to publicize the name of the big bank that Brunette established this relationships. But think a bank that has assets, that manages assets in the trillions and trillions of dollars. But Brunette, now that you have gone through this experience and established this relationship and you got the answers to all these questions, how do you feel the difference would be when it comes time to exchange if you had not done this already?
Oh, my heavens. If you don't go in there and be prepared, oh my goodness, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I do it? What do I do first? What are these people like? It's like it's just, I don't know. It's preparedness is so much easier. It's so much calmer. It's less stressful. So if I went in there today and exchange, I go, oh, what do I do? What do I ask? How do I know what are these people are like? Are they going to be the right ones? Or are they going to be the wrong ones? So, I so much better be prepared. It's so much easier.
Right. See, and thank you, because I wanted to get that clarification from you, because there are so many people that are waiting for a quote unquote notification, waiting for a quote unquote email from whoever. But you mentioned several things that is so key and important. You were able to obtain the credentials of the wealth manager. Their background, their professional background, their experience, and this team. Just imagine waiting for an email notification from someone supposedly in cyberspace who you have no idea of their background, no idea what credentials they have, no idea of their experience, no idea what their relationships are in any banks, nothing. Just some person, someplace is going to send an email about an exchange.
Scary, very scary. Yeah.
Who's not scared now?
I am.
That's right.
I've never been in my entire life.
Beautiful.
Yeah. We're all clapping for you, Brunette. We are all applauding you for doing that. Getting out of your comfort zone, going and establishing that, getting that load off of your back, that weight that I know so many people have. I felt the weight when I went in, and I was nobody waiting on this. I was just a guy who had a little bit of money, from a previous, a military career and some money I'd made in the Kuwaiti RV. And that was difficult enough, but we have to take those steps. And like Freedom always says, you have to get comfortable being a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yes. We're
uncomfortable to get comfortable. That's the most important statement there is.
Thank you for coming on this evening, sharing that with everybody, letting us record that to let many, many others downstream who's not here tonight to hear that, to help them and you don't see it, but I see it because I have people reach out to me saying, "Oh, Wiley, thanks for that last call. You've helped. You've done this." I don't think you understand how many people you've helped tonight, Brunette. You really don't.
Well, I sure hope so. It's just like people, just do it. It'll be so much easier when the time comes. You don't go walking into a bank and go, which way do I go? Which way do I go? What do I do?
I mean, in the words of Wiley, do I go to the Redemption Center behind the Piggly Wiggly at the porta potty? I don't know. Where do I go? Where do I go?
Yeah, you love that one. You can have that one. We're handing out free dinar T-shirts too.
Oh man!
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that, Brunette.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
I think folks, we have another young lady this evening, correct?
We do. We have PR. And folks, just so you know, we do see your hands up. We will get you after PR. We'll get to you during the Q&A. So we do see it, just so you have a heads up. All right. PR. You can unmute.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, PR.
Hello, Willie. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Can everybody hear me fine?
Yes, indeed.
I can hear you great. Yes.
Wonderful.
You ready to share your experience with us?
I am ready for your questions. Yes, of course.
Okay.
So let you lead me to
along the same lines of what the Brunette did, just kind of in your own words, if you would, tell us about your experience and how that was, and a bit about the overall back and forth between them, between you and your wealth advisor. And how did you reach out? Was it by email, or did you just go in as well too? If you could touch on that.
Sure. So I'm going to go briefly about how this entire new experience has started. So it started on August 3rd when I reached out to Freedom Fighter by text. He gave me some very specific instructions on how to find a bank with a wealth management. And he did that on August 3rd, and I actually accomplished it on August 5th. And by August 5th, I went to a bank that I have found around my area and just opened up a bank account. And as I did that, I was lucky enough to have the wealth manager of that bank come in and introduce himself to me. So this is how it started. It was as early as August 3rd, which is pretty phenomenal. And I have to give credit to Freedom Fighter to give me the courage to actually do it, to actually have the confidence to do it, because I didn't know that I could do that, because I didn't want to mix up, the foreign currencies. And he told me exactly what not to do, and just have, that trust to go to the bank, just open up the bank account without talking about any of that. And then after that moment, everything was pretty amazing and very easy. So in the sense that once the bank account was open, the bank manager called me and checked if they could do anything for me. And then the wealth manager, vice president, reached out to me only 3 weeks after me opening the bank account. And since then, we've been having conversation over the phone 3 times. And I was supposed to meet him actually for luncheon, which I have canceled, I'll postpone it until next week. So just unreal. It's almost like surreal that it went all so fast and everything was so positive.
And you felt that you could have a good rapport with this individual and that you have a comfort level with this person?
Oh, he was phenomenal, really. I mean, he had all, I think, the values that I was looking for. I followed your list. I had the list in my head, because when he called, I was not on my computer. I didn't have the list. But then, we had really genuine, very, very very organic and how can I say, like it was just an easygoing conversations where he spoke about his background in the banking industry. So he was based in New York, and he worked for Blink Blink, another bank, which I didn't open up my account with that bank, where they had $2 billion of asset management with a team. And he moved to Florida a couple of years ago to go and work with a bank that was more aligned with his values in terms of investments. And just like, I felt extremely comfortable with him. So he went on to tell me that he's reachable during the weekends, at any time. When I have questions, he's really all decks on in terms of any kind of investment I will be looking for, and they will assess the risk I want to take, all the areas of like what people are looking in investment to be guided. So he has a big team working with him. And so basically, on the 10 questions you had on your list, I think that he pretty much aced into all of them.
Excellent. Did you get any personal information out of him from that list, or did he provide that, or was he willing to expound on just something personal from himself?
Yeah, so we were supposed to continue that conversation on face-to-face, me going back and meeting him during lunch and so forth. So I didn't send him the email like Brunette did with a specific list. But during that conversation that lasted the first time for 15 minutes, he went really into details and didn't shy away from answering any of my questions whatsoever.
Excellent. And you mentioned a key thing there. You told him at your level of risk, and he said he was willing to manage that at your level.
Completely.
That's huge.
So each case, he's dealing with his client on each case, depends on the risk. I mean, long-term, medium-term, short-term, high risk, medium risk. So all the things that we like to hear, I guess, as investors.
And this is why we sat in the driver's seat and we let the expert tell us where we need to go, guide us where we need to go. It sounds like you had a great conversation. I would love to hear what you hear back when you do your luncheon with them, because I've gotten to know mine personally over luncheons far better than I did inside the office, and that's where I really started building a rapport with him. And we've got such a rapport. We text one another just on trivial stuff that doesn't even deal with business. So I'm so happy that you've got this step out there, and you've taken that initiative and building this rapport and getting to know this wealth manager. If I can, what piece of advice would you give to everybody listening to this now, and who will be listening to it on the recorded call? What piece of advice would you give them, knowing what you know now after what you've experienced in your initial meetings?
So for anyone who's listening to that call who didn't have the courage to actually follow Freedom Fighter and the entire team at Goldilocks, just have confidence that this is something that any one of us can do. Just locate a bank with the criteria that we are looking for, which we have a wealth manager office within that bank, and just trust that these people are going to welcome your business. I would recommend not to speak about foreign currencies, as Freedom Fighter recommended me not to. And I actually wanted to have your take on that. I mean, what would you recommend the listeners out there? Because that was the one thing that deterred me for some times not to take that step, to just actually go ahead and open up a bank account.
Yeah, I'll speak to that real quick, and Freedom probably might want to jump in on that, but I wouldn't bring it up at all unless you had maybe some VND or something, or I wouldn't even say VND because that's there. But I mean, if I traveled a lot, and that's kind of how mine started a bit, because I wanted to flip the currency back to U.S. currency, and that's kind of how mine started. But I would not bring up the currency per se, because once you do go into exchange and that money starts hitting your accounts, these guys are going to be searching you out to say, hey, we've spoken. Do you want to come in and visit with me? And I'd love to get you going. I'd love to get you in some things. I see what you got. There's a lot of different things we can work with, and I know where you're at, your risk level. Let's get this to working.
I
Mhm.
agree. I agree with you. So I was very, very glad that I was following instruction of Freedom Fighter to the T. And right now, I mean, I'm intending to continue on building up on that relationship. And the other question I have for you that might also help, all our listeners there is I'm also thinking about establishing other relationships, maybe not stopping even at that bank, maybe having a second one or a third one, and see really maybe we can have multiple options with multiple wealth managers. What is your take on that?
You can, but I wouldn't recommend that at this stage. I mean, as you maybe get into the business aspects or maybe project aspects or 501c charitable aspects, you might separate it then. But if you still want to look around and shop around, that's your prerogative.
So right now, you think that having one relationship established is just enough. It's just
That's the key. That's the key right now, is just establishing that relationship so that you aren't burdened, like Brunette Gran said. You get this off your shoulders, so when this does happen, you are already got that stone turned to where you're ready to take that step to it. And everything you're going to do in this wealth management side, I look at stepping stones. And once you got that down and you start making money and you start having returns and you got this investment interest coming in, I mean, you're going to start paying taxes on that. So then that next stone, you're going to want to go find that CPA or a tax professional that can help you understand to lessen any liabilities, because you don't want to pay any more than you have to. And they'll help you navigate that as well, and what you can do and can't do, and different things and strategies that they would have and advise you. So this is all just about a process to establish relationships as we go along. That's not to discourage you from eventually building outward. I encourage you to do that as you grow. But for now, I think you've taken that initiative to get somebody in your corner and to get that team approach going. Freedom, if you want to chime in here, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I totally agree 100%. Once if it were me, PR, once I have the money in my account, um, I would know that would be leeway if I wanted to have other options and establish relationships with other wealth managers to diversify my portfolio with various wealth management firms. That would be the time then, because like in real estate, when someone is shopping for a home, they can kind of, after a while, everything looks the same. Every house looks the same. Every feature looks the same. And you get analysis of paralysis, and you don't make any decisions at all, or you delay your decisions. Just for me personally, I would, because I've already established my relationships, I would keep that for now. And then once the money's in my account, I can slow roll it to have other options and shop around.
Well, I love it. That's much easier. So I can just concentrate on just having more information and just continue building on that one relationship. That's great news. So I will listen to
Yeah.
both of you.
Because also what happens when you have the money in your account, you have something, there is something that is going to happen to your psyche, to your spirit. When that money hits your account, you're going to go to a whole nother level of confidence, because then you have leverage.
Yeah.
And that leverage allows you to go to any wealth manager and say, hey, you don't tell them, you never tell them all of what you have. If you have 20 million, you don't say, I have 20 million.
Agree.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes,
You know,
yes.
in the back of your mind, you know what you have, but but you can go with that confidence and leverage, and you can obtain from those other wealth managers the options that they could present, possibly 2, 3 different portfolios in front of you that will say, hey, PR, based on what you told us your goals are, short term and long term, these are the 3 options, PR, as your wealth manager, we can present to you.
Yes.
You have 20 million, but they may show you a return on, if you invested 3 million in a particular area with 10%, 15% monthly return. Then they may show you 5 million and then a 10%, 20 million, 12% return, whatever it may be. But in the back of your mind, like, I got 20. Yeah, I got 20, but I'm only
But
going to
I'm
let them
not
know I
telling
have 2.
them.
Yeah, exactly. You don't show your hand, if you will. You understand? So, but you have more of that leverage when that money is in your account to be able to do that and then, shop around.
100%. Very good advices. And yes, we don't tell them all that we have. We just like listen first to what they
Hmm.
have to offer. But this wealth manager was really, really, I think, had all the right attitude and the right propositions. And, and I like that
Hmm.
you worked with a team, and he obviously was managing a lot of money for a long time at Goldman Sachs. So I said
Hmm.
the name because that was another
Yeah, yeah,
bank.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
this is not the
Absolutely.
bank I am
Right.
with right now.
Right.
So
Was Goldman Sachs, you said?
yes,
Yes. Okay. Okay. That was the other
that
one.
that
Hmm.
one was in New York for many
Hmm.
years when
Hmm.
they were
Hmm.
managing, in the B. No, I think that it was $2 billion of
Right.
assets. So it was a
Right.
lot of money.
Very, very credible establishment. So they have experience with previously with that says a lot about, their background, being that is a part of their other, outside of the bank where they're at now. They have that previous experience with Goldman Sachs or affiliate relationships with Goldman Sachs. That's huge.
Yeah, and I loved it when you told me that. I loved it. That was a
Hmm.
good piece of information for me.
Hmm.
So it
Yeah, look at
was.
PR. She's going right after the big guns right out the gate.
I know she's wasting no time at all.
Wasting no time. Listen,
She,
we
you
don't
know,
sleep anymore here, so we might as well just get it with a big success. All of
Yeah, I'm gonna
it.
let you take the. I'm gonna let you do the rest of the call. PR, go ahead.
Not
You got
yet.
this.
Not yet. But don't count me out. Like I'm studying with the
Oh,
freedom fighter and all of you every day. I'm loving it because it's really refreshing. It's so much learning, and it's so much easier for me to comprehend what is happening in this quantum financial system and the cryptos. I mean, I
Mhm,
used to really study for years, and I had to read and reread, and I still do, but it's so much easier now with all of you. You make it really like a dream to study, a dream. And I can never thank all of you. Again, I know I say it, but I mean it. You're
mhm.
doing a phenomenal work for all of us. And thank you. Thank
we,
you.
we, I know. Speaking for me, I appreciate that. But in what I do, I hope that one day the student will become the teacher, and that you will help those around your circle of influence who knows nothing about this, and they're going to be surprised you know all this, and you're going to be able to. And granted, I see the room. You all know far more than you realize. I think maybe you're just a little reluctant or nervous to say it, but you've got this, and you've got a base understanding of what's going on, and that's key because you're going to need that. And then as these people start leaning to you about, well, why is this? Why is that? You'll be surprised. You will become the teacher, and that's my goal.
You know what? It will be really my dream. And I even in my little, the little bit that I can contribute into trying to bring some people along and aboard and try to share what I have. I'm so honored to be able to do that because I feel again that this is our duty. I really do. Like I think that we have that duty to share that incredible new world that is coming to us, and very, very proud and honored to do that in my level. And until I get to your level, that will take a while, but I'm not, I'm not giving up hope. I'm waiting for the boot camp training with Freedom Fighter.
Well, I tell you what, on that note, and this is something PR, you, Brunette Gran, and others, you can begin that process in the room now. Because you may feel as if Wiley, myself, Jester, Goldilocks, and others are at a level of understanding greater than yours, but your level of understanding is greater than 99% of the people out there. And so you all can begin to help people in the room immediately when they have questions regarding this and they need help. And guess what that'll do for you? That will also it will also empower you and refresh you to continue learning, because teachers don't just learn from teaching. They learn from just listening. Teachers learn from teaching. So your knowledge and your understanding of what's going on becomes even stronger when you begin to teach others. And this is where Wiley is speaking of when the student becomes the teacher.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love it. I love it.
yeah.
And I'll be more than happy and willing to do it. Brunette,
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
Brunette and with anyone that is on board. I mean, it's like,
Hmm.
it would be my privilege and honor, really.
Right.
So I don't
And
know
for
how
those,
to do that, but
it's easy. There will be people that will listen to this and they'll understand. There's probably people in the room right now that have always wanted to ask you questions, and now they know that they're more than. And folks, you can ask these questions. You can ask questions of PR and Brunette in the room, or any one of us in the room for this help. And we prefer in the room so everyone can learn, and also not in private DMs where you're DMing the members. They may not feel comfortable. Like someone sent a message to Brunette yesterday, made her very uncomfortable. You can ask your questions in the room. We're an open book. There's nothing to hide here. We provide the information to our members. Our members can be very helpful to anyone. And it doesn't matter if you're a member of our room from another room. I'm gonna just say it. It's the truth. Whether you're from another channel or another group, it doesn't matter. The information, the truth is the truth. Help is help. This is not about Goldilocks QFS dialogues. This is not about Goldilocks information. This is universal information. This is universal knowledge. This is information that is actually coming from God's source. And we in this team are just utilizing that energy to provide it. So if anyone wants it, it's available to anyone, no matter who you are, where you are. It's not exclusive to our room. And so when you come to the room, you come to this room, you ask for information. Of course, just make sure you follow. We have a etiquette in the room. Just follow and ask your questions. We'll help you. But we have members like PR and Brunette Gran, Zach and Amber and Trish and Manuel and others, so forth and so on, that are in the room and that can help you. Whether it's you have questions about the debt clock from Liberty, we have Ani, we have a bunch of people in the room that can help each other, and that's what this is all about. PR.
I love it. I love it. And the only thing that we sometimes I am reluctant to answer some question, because I don't want, you have very strict guidelines, and I want to make sure that you clear the questions before
Yeah, we
we can
trust you.
answer.
You are an example of a student who has become a teacher, especially with what you have done in following the guidelines and that Wiley and I set out to establish those relationships. You are 1%. Establishing the relationship with the wealth manager, creating that strong relationship, finding out the credentials, the values, getting ready to have your lunch with the wealth manager. This is experience. You have graduated to another level of understanding. And you can share that with other people who have not established a relationship with a wealth manager, who are not comfortable in doing so because you were there once. You were not comfortable at first.
Yes, I was not. It's absolutely true. I was not confident because I said, oh, if I don't come in with millions of dollars, why would they want to open up an account with me? I'm sure things that cross the mind of a lot of people. So
Hmm.
so the mere fact that you guided me with that very simple text and you told me to follow you to the T, and I did. And it was
You did.
a very seamless experience. And I
Hmm.
cannot stress that enough for all your listeners. Really. I cannot. Because they cannot fail listening
That's right.
to your instructions. It's
Hmm.
impossible.
Hmm. And for those that may be wondering why to not mention dinar, why not to mention RV, something that Wiley said earlier, and I've heard him say it before, is these people are very matter of fact. If you go and speaking about dinar and RV, that is not their language. They're very matter of fact. And folks, you gotta understand something. At these banks for years, there have been people coming into these to these branches and with guru breath. Oh, I heard y'all gonna do the RV. Y'all gonna do the RV. You got that dinar. You gonna shit. And that's not their language. And it's an immediate red flag because what comes with that language is a bunch of other things that just aren't true. So therefore, they're not going to take you serious. And this is why in the instructions given to PR and Brunette and other members, we gave them instructions, which is literally inside information. So when they go in, they can get the red carpet rolled out. PR's having, yeah. Am I right?
100% true, 100%. And they have no idea except, Brunette said she's coming into inheritance. I told them that I am working on different business deals that are going to come to fruition very soon. So you get no mentioning of any of that because, it will scare the hell out of them and it's immediately a red flag. So
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
let's. It's 100% true. Do not
Right.
mention any of that. Just
Right.
follow your instructions. It's guaranteed success.
See, and folks, what you don't realize, some of you may not know, we have members that followed our instructions, and the wealth manager or vice president of the bank ends up saying it to our members, saying, "Hey, the RV we know is real, by the way," because there's a level of trust that the wealth manager and the staff have that they're dealing with someone who is a professional, someone who doesn't have all of these tainted, misinformed information coming into their branch with unrealistic expectations about walking out, becoming the next Warren Buffett, and things of that nature. Warren Buffett is a billionaire.
Yeah.
So and also because these bankers, they're, and I hate to say this, but it's true because the term has been really chopped up and misguided. But these executives are under NDAs. They cannot talk about certain things. When I was in Dallas years ago, I had a wealth vice president of Wells Fargo at the time who told me that they have meetings every month. And this was 2017. He said they have meetings every month in Atlanta to talk about the RV, but they can't talk about it to their staff. So there's things so if you're going in there talking about, hey, I heard about the RV and I want to talk. Nope. They're going to call security on you.
Hey, can I chime in there on that real quick? You
Please
brought
so.
up a good point.
Please do.
My mother-in-law used to be a banker, and I don't press her for things, but I just happened to be at her house one day when her friends that are still in banking, she's like, hey, how's work? How's this going? She goes, oh, yeah, we're training more people on the foreign currency desk again. That's huge when I hear things like that, where they're taking other people who've never worked foreign currency and ensuring that multiple people inside these banks are trained on foreign currency.
Mm-hmm.
To somebody who isn't a part of this, to hear that,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been nothing. But when I hear people working in banks today, in tier one banks, talk about this, well, it tickles Wiley's ears a little bit to say, yeah, they know. They may not be saying it, but they know.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's
Hey,
amazing.
Wiley, PR. I want to share something with both Wiley, PR, and the rest of you listening to this call. Wiley, that's a perfect segue. You don't realize what you just did. Brunette Gran, can you unmute, please? Are you still here? Do, 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 do. Is Brunette Gran still here? Oh, yeah, there she is. Watch it. Brunette, you can unmute, Brunette. You know what I'm going to ask you. So, for those that don't know, Brunette Gran works, don't say the name of the bank. She works at a bank. What did Wiley just say that gives you, I don't even got to ask you the question. I'm just give you the microphone. About training on currency exchanges, Brunette. What did you get a few months ago?
Oh my God.
That's
Hold
what.
on.
Sorry, I had a laugh memory there for a minute.
She's cracking up. She's still laughing.
Yes.
Okay, so what are you? Because I had to go to the restroom a second.
Oh, my bad. You probably didn't hear. So Wiley was saying that I believe he said his mother-in-law's. He was at the table, or sister-in-law's. I'm sorry, Wiley, and overheard them talk about their training on foreign currency exchanges. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. And what was it that you work at a bank, and so you're on the inside. And a couple of months ago, when Goldilocks shared that there was going to be training, there was communication from Goldilocks's connections in the banking system, that there was going to be communication to certain banks on foreign currency exchanges. What happened with you?
Oh yeah, we did. We received an email because before at the bank, always had to go down to headquarters to pick up currency if you wanted to order it. So we got an email stating we cannot do that anymore. Now you can your local branch, and get all that taken care of. You don't have to go drive all the way down to the headquarters anymore.
So that the clients of the bank can now go to their local branch to do foreign currency transactions, whereas before they only had to go to the headquarters of the branch. Is that correct?
That's right.
And that there was training for staff as well?
Yes.
Exactly what you were talking about, Wiley.
Ain't no redemption center behind a Piggly Wiggly, is it?
You know what? Where our headquarters is, it's a long drive for quite a few of our customers. So it made it so much more convenient too. But yeah, I remember when that article came out. I remember seeing that email. I said, "Huh? How about that?" Like, okay, that's pretty awesome.
Yep. That's awesome.
So Wiley, can I ask a question based on what Wiley just shared on the foreign currencies? So on my next luncheon or meeting with my wealth manager, vice president, do you think that he may be mentioning something to that effect without mentioning any specific currencies? Do you think that organically that conversation can come on the table?
It's quite possible, but I would let him lead into that. And if he does and he mentions anything about it, you say, well, I've been watching a few things on the foreign currency side, and just leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
this
Thank
is another
you.
thing where you take freedom fighters' advice and you don't tip your entire hand. You got to play a little poker a little bit. You got to keep a little bit back until the time comes to where it's time to get in there and do that heavy lifting and that work you're going to need that wealth manager to do for you.
Yes, I agree. I was just asking the question based on, the revelation you have. You were surprised, but what you heard, at while having conversation with a family member. But yeah, I will never bring a question regarding foreign currency whatsoever. It's never crossed my mind. I
Yeah,
will
and that
not
goes back
even.
to what Freedom Fighter said, PR, is back in the early days of this, people were running into Wells Fargo and Reno consistently and saying, hey, I just traded my money over at the Wagner or the Peppermill Inn, the casino, in a conference room, and my account's supposed to be set up here for me. And I was actually in Reno at one time, and I went over to Wells Fargo, and I talked to the branch manager, and she goes, you do not want to know how many horror stories I could tell you. She's telling me this as somebody walked in and had that exact conversation in front of me with her.
Wow.
And I'm just like, oh my God. She goes, this happens at least 10 times a day.
Yeah. I
And
believe you.
that's because everybody's like, oh, you got to go to Reno. You got to do this. You got to go there. Reno's the new, what do they call it? No, Reno's the new treasury. It's just like, please, people, stop with all this guru breath nonsense.
This is why this room, what you guys are doing is just phenomenal, because it can be so confusing, and some people may just give up because it is so confusing. So you could for bring up the truth and some clarity in this just like chaos of misinformations and confusion.
Let me give you an example that happened to me directly when we used to have dinar meetings here in Kansas City. Is a gal came to me and she just threw a pile of just foreign currency at my face, and it feathered everywhere.
Oh my
She goes,
God.
my husband died behind a computer every night, listen to the latest this, that, and the other from everybody. This killed him. I blame you all. And I'm like, whoa. We don't do those shows on all those chat sites. We don't put out that stuff. We never put out that kind of stuff. But she was just so upset that her husband stopped living his life and sat behind that computer every night to hear whatever channel was out there, to anything that would tickle his ears that this thing was going to happen. And this was over a decade ago. I actually took that currency. I took it to my attorney. I had him put it with him and say, hey, this belongs to this person. Here's her name and address. If this happens, and when it happens, do get with her if you would, please.
That's
because
amazing.
she could come back
Wonderful
to me
to
for it
hear.
if she feels it. But I was so sad for her
Yes. It's
because of that.
heartbreaking, truly. It's heartbreaking. And I'm sure she's not the only one who went
No.
through that agony. And it's heartbreaking. That's all I have to say. Heartbreaking.
Yeah. And if we can help get people off that wheel of chaos, we're happy to do it.
You are doing it. You are doing it. So you know that. So I can tell you are doing it. I'm witnessing it. So that's why I'm never shy about saying thank you a million times. It's okay. I can repeat myself as saying thank you.
Oh, but I'm calling you after this call because I'm going to need your big dog wealth manager and maybe see what he can do for me.
Okay, well, feel free. I'm open 24/7, like my wealth manager. Feel free.
All right.
Anything
No,
else?
I'm so proud of you, PR. I really, and again, I'm not a hugger, but hugs out to you for taking that step and going and doing this. It's uncomfortable to start with, but once you do it, that weight of the unknowing is lifted off of you, that you can just enjoy the learning process of what's going on as we get to that point to where you've already built this relationship. And it's simple as saying, hey, can I meet with you today? And go in and say, hey, I've got this currency. Let's go to work.
Yes. Yeah. And you know what's even more beautiful now that is done? Now I can concentrate into dissecting all these articles, because this is another full-time job, but everything makes so much more sense. And I'm actually looking forward to it because it's so enlightening. It's like it's amazing. I mean, it's just amazing. I will never look at this entire new financial system and what is coming to us with the same glasses. It's I'm speechless. It's just extraordinary because now we can connect every day a little bit the dots. We're not there, but I can see the light. I can see where we're going, and it makes so much sense.
You can see the process.
Yes. Process in motion is just beautiful to see.
And thank you, PR. We so appreciate you coming on here, willing to tell your story in your own words to everybody that'll hear this, and how it's helped you get that sense of relief that you feel you can go do other things now, and you're not so burdened with this step.
And it's my absolute pleasure, and anyone can reach out anytime, and if I have anything more to add, then you be sure that I'll share it in the room again. So anytime, it's part of what I love doing, really. I mean, to give back and to share. I believe that this is one of our mission in here, at least in this room with this group of people.
Beautiful. Thank you. All right. Wiley, are you ready for some Q&A?
Hey, let me talk about a couple projects I missed the other day. And one key point about banking I'd like to stress to some people based on a conversation I had.
Absolutely. Go ahead, my good man. Yep.
This conversation came up because I've been there, and I've let me just throw it out there and you'll understand what I mean. When you have wealth and you have a certain amount of wealth, banks and everybody else are going to say, hey, you qualify for our black card. Let me hook you up. You're a high net worth client and this, that. It might feel good to have a black card when you go out and you're able to do things and people see this. Don't do it. That's a status symbol. It puts a target on you for other people knowing that you already are a high net worth client without you saying it. Instead, visit with your bank saying, I appreciate the offer, but would you please just give me a gold card and let's put just $10,000 on it a month or whatever you want. Just put a number that if it did get stolen or whatever, because you're only responsible for the first $50. But with a black card, man, you're asking for problems with that. And I only speak because I've seen somebody that it happened to, and they actually put an AirTag tracker on his car and tracked where he lived.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden he got free tickets in the mail for this concert, and he was going to go. And he said, man, they're sending me a limo. They're sending me everything. I'm like, well, did you fill out for this? He's like, no. Man, I'd be really suspect. Because I don't know if people remember 10, 15 years ago, there was a crime spree where people were sending tickets to individuals, and in these wealthy neighborhoods, these people go to these concerts, and when they come home, the house had been cleaned out. Don't make yourself a target.
Right.
So that's just a little piece of advice I want to leave you guys with on that aspect. So we got to be smart a little bit. It feels good, but you don't need that status.
Right.
Let me change gears a little bit, not be so serious about that kind of stuff. But there was two programs I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about, and I'm sorry I forgot these two the last time we'd spoke about this. But I live in Tornado Alley, and it is hurricane season, and that's what brought this to my mind is these people with pets. It's very expensive to chip your pet, but there's a company out there that has a tag, and it's a QR code tag. And when you scan that tag and you set it up for your pet, you put everything in there. Hey, my dog's name is Jax. He hates cats. He likes kids. His veterinarian is this. And in that, when they scan that tag, the owner will be notified where the scan was tagged. And not only that, if your dog is lost, you can pull up the tag on your phone information and track your dog via GPS through a Maps app, all online through this company. And that company is named Bite Tag. And I think Lady E is going to drop that in the room. The reason I bring this up is the tags aren't real expensive, But one of the things I do is I'll go buy 1,000 of these tags, and I will ask the local shelters when somebody adopts a dog, instead of chipping the dog and charging that fee, give this person the tag. Just give it. I'll incur the cost. It costs nothing after that. It is completely free once you own the tag. And this is good for areas of the country where and I really bring it up because I have friends that go into these areas after hurricanes and help clean up, and they find a lot of pets that never get rehomed or never find their original owners because they just get lost in everything else in that chaos. So this is just a way you can give back very easily, very quietly, and very anonymously. And you can do it in your own community. Go down to the local veterinarian, say, hey, here's 100 of these. Please distribute this to your clientele that you have here. And they'll be happy to do it.
Awesome.
While we're talking about the veterinarian aspect, and this is just one I do, I encourage you all to steal the other one too, is when I'm at the vet for my animals, I will just look at, and the guy's name's Dr. Jackson. I say, hey, Dr. Jackson, what is your outstanding balances for the month? He goes, Wiley, man, that's like $6,000. I said, I'll take care of it. He was like, what? I said, I'll just take care of it. And I'll just write the check, let him take care of it. Because what I found is a lot of the fees that are in there are a lot of people who are on assisted living or things like very fixed incomes, and their pet means everything. Sometimes I've seen the line item because they gave me the balance sheet without the names, but a lot of it was cremation cost or stuff like that, and somebody had lost their pet. And the last thing you want is that hanging over somebody's head that they couldn't take care of their pet in the final stages. So it's little things that we do. When I say start your community, this is when you can take so easily and pay it forward and provide a sense of relief to those people who are already grieving in some sense. Because I don't know, my pet's like a family member, and I'd be devastated if it was gone. So take those ideas, run with them, and with that, we can go to Q&A. Thanks for letting me share that, Freedom.
All righty. Thank you. All right. Trish, I know you had your hand up pretty early, if you can unmute, and then we'll be coming down the line to others that we see hands up. Trish, are you, sorry, there you go. Hey, Trish, you can unmute.
Oh, me. Hey, y'all.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm breathing good. Everything's going good.
All right.
Yeah. I have just a couple questions. First, I want to tell you guys again, thank you so much. And Wiley, that was some great information about the pets. I have 2 fur babies that I love, and those are just some really good ideas. And thank you for sharing that. And Freedom Fighter, thank you again for answering all my questions that I have. And everybody in this room, so yeah, don't laugh now.
You're a hoot. I love you.
Everybody in your room is just so kind, and I just love it. But the question I had yesterday was, and this is for Wiley.
Mm-hmm.
I had went to a bank and asked. I actually made an appointment, and I thought it was for a wealth manager. It was, but whenever I got there, they actually put me with a private client banker. And then I also went to another bank and I talked to a senior advisor. So I want to do a follow-up, but should I reach out to them again and try to schedule with a wealth manager again?
Sometimes within banks, you might wind up with the private wealth guy, and he can do the wealth management side too. But most of the times when you get a private wealth manager, they usually want you to have so many assets under management that you have. So without knowing the criteria of that particular bank and what that level is, that dollar figure that they want under management to be in that side, I mean, it'd be hard to say. I mean, I would definitely reach back out and say, I want to speak to a wealth manager. Are you certified in that area to help me in that? And they may have a dual role there. I don't know for sure. I know at one bank I deal with, they have a private wealth guy or a private manager that does the private wealth or does the wealth management. I'm sorry. So
Okay.
I guess Trish, I don't have enough information to say what they're really doing in there, and it could just be a splitting of hairs of titles.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just reach back out, try to make another appointment and see what happens this time with it. I've got plenty of banks around my area to reach out to, so maybe I'll just, start over. I do have one other question though. It's actually something that I ran into today. At work, I come in contact with a financial advisor. He was a patient of mine actually, and we just started talking. And he told me to come see him. That he does work under a wealth manager. He told me the name of the company. So this isn't a bank. This is like a outside group. What do you think? Do you think it's
Nothing
better
wrong
to
with this.
go ahead?
No, go ahead. Do I think it's better to what?
To establish with a bank for wealth management or an outside source, you could do that also.
No, you can do either or. Just the benefit of being inside of a bank, they're already going to see what you're bringing, kind of got in the bank, and going to be able to help you in that. The benefit of maybe outside is they could have a bigger pool of people they work with too, as well as internally to the bank. They're maybe limited to the number of people that might be able to help advise. Because I think it was Brunette Gran said they had 22 different things they could offer. Man, that's a lot for one person to know. So
220, I think.
Or 220? Okay.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah.
So if you go to this individual and they have a wealth management office where that's all they do, man, you could have more than that inside there if they're willing to work for you. It is something that I would check out. I wouldn't dismiss. I would definitely look at them through FINRA, make sure that that's on the up and up, go in, ask your questions, and see what that comfort level is.
Okay.
We're just establishing the relationship. We aren't doing or working with them at this point. We're just trying to get a feel, Trish, if this is somebody we can truly work with. This is somebody you're going to be able in the long term, be able to have conversations with. And sometimes they'll be tough conversations.
Right. So I did get on the computer after I talked to him and looked up to see if they were SIPC and the FINIRS, whatever that FINRS.
FINRA.
Yeah. But you know what I found out? They were one of a group of 26 as of August 14th that they actually owe $50 million because they didn't keep their bookkeeping right.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah. Had you heard about that?
No, but it isn't something I'd want to get caught up in whatever they have problems with at this time, whether they could be in a great firm or not. Just move on. Just don't get caught up in their problem. Find somebody that don't have the problem.
Yeah, right. It was with the SEC recording.
Yeah, there's two people I never want to get involved with: the IRS and the SEC, and I'm more afraid of the SEC than I am the IRS.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. So I am going to reach out again, and I'm going to be the next one that tells you what I found out.
We look forward to it.
Quick question for you, Trish. Quick question for you. So the location where you went or you reached out to for wealth management and they got you with a private client, do you already have an account there?
Well, I opened an account there.
Recently?
Back whenever I went in there. So,
okay.
So Freedom Fighter, it's actually been about 5 months ago. And the problem with that is I was still caught up in guru foo-foo.
She went in and threw up on their main lobby floor.
Yes, okay.
She's made a splash.
I didn't want to tell the whole story.
But this is great. This is great, Wiley. So when you say that, what did you say when now?
Freedom Fighter.
Okay, all right. I won't press you. So you went in there.
I'll tell you. I went in there. So she told me that the wealth manager was busy, and so I went in there and I just basically told her. I didn't tell her nothing, but I asked her, did I need to open an account with them if I ever wanted to exchange foreign currency? And she said, yes, you have to already be established here. And she asked me, did I have some foreign currency? And I said, yes. And then I started talking about everything with,
Mm-hmm.
JP Morgan and stuff. And then I would talk to her and she would look at me like I was crazy. And I would say, well, look it up. It's on the internet. You can find that. Like where, that JP Morgan had went to Iraq or whatever and worked with them. What's his name?
Jamie Dimon.
Yes. And she said, no, he has not went there. So that's how that started. So I'm kind of embarrassed to go back in there, but I do have an account with him.
Right. So actually he did go there, but so now I know why you said you had guru breath. Because with that, let me ask you this. What do you think what do you think you could have done differently? I'll ask you that.
Oh, I absolutely now I would go in there and it would be totally different. I just learned from listening to those two. I've learned from Zach. I mean, I know exactly what I would do. It would be a whole different scenario. And see, that is my problem with going back into there, because I've already spit out the guru foo-foo to her. So whenever I go in there and tell her that I'm maybe getting an inheritance or that I may have some businesses,
Okay.
then she's
I'm
gonna
gonna help
look
you.
at me like I'm crazy.
Send me a DM and we'll fix it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like you went in there and gave yourself a Tanya Harding right in the kneecaps. They're going to remember that.
So
They're gonna see you. They're gonna see you pull up the parking lot. Lock the doors, please.
They're gonna lock the doors. I even asked her if she was under an NDA.
Oh no!
And she looked out the door and like she couldn't even look at me for a minute.
Trish, what is your shirt size? Because we need to send you a t-shirt.
I know. But this is the good thing. I have grown so much.
It is.
You
I
guys.
was just getting ready to say, I'm so glad you went through that. I'm so glad you did it. It might sound crazy, but at least now you know what not to do. Because I tell you, because Zach and Amber did the same thing. Their first time.
I know. I remember. I had already done it before they did it.
And
but
then they go
knew.
back.
I didn't tell.
Oh, I wonder why. And then they go back, and the vice president says, "Oh yeah, we got word from our higher ups. The RV is going to happen."
Right.
Big difference when they made the mistake in that guru breath at first, and come back more intelligent, with a more wiser approach, and they got the red carpet rolled out for them.
Absolutely.
The same thing will happen for you. It was good. It was good you did. It was excellent. Glad you did it at first.
Well, now I also have something to compare with how far I've grown in this journey, just being with you guys, because I very rarely venture out anymore. I'm just really with you guys. Because I know where that got me last time. And I know that a lot of the stuff that I followed before, I'm like, I'm not seeing that right now. I'm just not seeing it. That just doesn't make any sense. Things weren't adding up, but I come to you guys, we can connect all the dots. Everything is connecting through Goldilocks. Wiley gives us all this extra information and gesture, and you're just like, wowed. There's just so much to learn. And, it was overwhelming at first, but once you keep going through it, you're not as overwhelmed because you're learning with it. Right.
Exactly. That's like PR said. You can see the process and you appreciate it more as you're going through the process of learning of how everything is transpiring in the reset, and you can see it.
Absolutely. And I'm not jumping on my phone like right whenever my right eye opens up to see if it's today. I'm like, Lord, that's so nice not to do that. I know what to expect. There's regulations that have to come. I'm not jumping. I'm literally was still in the bed picking up my phone, and how you look at your phone and then you drop it on your face. You're not even awake, So,
right. And the beautiful thing is, like you said about regulations and other things, when you know that that's what's happening, but then you're being shown certain regulations that are actually going into law that's eventually leading up to the event.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep. It all, like you guys say, it all connects dots. And it's a comforting feeling. It's not anxiety feeling every day that you wake up. It's a very comforting feeling to watch everything take place.
Trish, you'd be like waking up thinking, I'm going to quit my job
I know.
on a 2-day notice. I quit today.
My poor coworker,
2-day notice.
I mean, it's just me and her in an MRI trailer. So, we got to love each other. So, so she knows my life and I know hers. And, hey, I know she's thankful for you guys because every day I was like, today's my last day. I'm going to be rich tomorrow. I'm like, I'm going to buy you a car. And I'm still there. So anyways, good thing I love my job.
That's right. Awesome.
Well, Trish, thank you for sharing that bad experience because now people have heard it. And it is embarrassing. I share embarrassing things about myself, but if people can learn from it, all the better. And there's probably people here tonight that will learn from your experience of let's not do that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, so thank you for being the brunt of your own joke there. We appreciate that.
Well, okay. I feel better now that I've let it out.
Good. Yeah, you've helped a lot of people with that.
Well, you guys help a lot of people too, so we appreciate you.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. And PR and Brunette Gran, I just love both of them, and I'm thankful for them sharing their stories. Great stories.
Yes, thank you.
All right, guys. You have a good evening. You got a big night. It's
yes.
7. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I'll be on another call. All right,
yeah,
guys.
9:00. All right. You too. Brunette Gran, I think you had your hand up. You wanted to say something, Brunette? You can unmute.
Oh, no. I was just mentioning that when you mentioned the products, it was 2,200.
2,200. Oh, wow. I was way off too. 2,200 products.
That's
not
it.
220. Wow. Well, awesome. Thank you. Thank you, beautiful.
2,200, 2,100. What's a few hundred?
Right. All right. Let's follow the bouncing ball. You can unmute. I haven't heard from you in a long time.
All right. Hey, I'm lurking. I'm out there.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. And to comment there on Wiley, if you're old enough, I think it's 220, 221, whatever it takes. The comment from the Michael Keaton movie back in like 1981 on that. So that brought up a fun memory.
That's it.
I've got a question that's kind of off of the beaten path, and you can tell me if I need to come back in line here. Freedom, in your videos, you frequently talk about dinar, and you talk about dong, and you talk about bolivar. And maybe this isn't as complicated of a question as I might think it is. With dinar, of course, we're looking at the 3 zeros. With the Vietnamese dong, we talk about it, a market economy and it floating to its value based on supply and demand. But when it comes to bolivar, I really don't know much about the bolivar. I do know that if I go to the website, the exchange website XE, and I put in the Venezuelan bolivar, the exchange rate on that, based on what it provides for Venezuelan bolivar right now, is excellent. But it's not exchangeable. Is that due to sanctions? Is it illegal to transact in that right now? I just know that you frequently talk about bolivar when mentioning dinar and dong and upcoming exchanges and XRP and the SWIFT system and all of that. Why is bolivar not exchangeable right now, even though on the XE website it shows that it has a good rate compared to the US dollar?
Because it's not international. It's not international yet. All currencies will eventually float, and they will be on a level playing field. So the bolivar is one of the most widely mentioned in dinar land, but also why the bolivar is so relevant as well. I'm going to ask you a question. You're very sharp. You do research, and I know you know the answer. Do you remember in January that the announcement of UPI, Universal Payment Interface, went live? Or do you recall that?
Yeah, that was out of India, I believe.
That's right. See, that's why I give you so much credit. So, and for those that don't know, what UPI, Universal Payment Interface, is a payment system, meaning this payment system will allow instant settlements or instant transactions in the banking system, or in our language that you'll understand, instant exchanges. Now, the UPI, Universal Payment Interface, is the equivalent. It's created, like Follow the Bouncing Ball said, created by India, bricks. But that payment system is the same as our payment system in the U.S. called FedNow.
Okay.
So FedNow will communicate as a payment system with UPI as a payment system. What are several countries that went live with UPI in January? Follow the bouncing ball.
They're BRICS nations.
Well, yeah, India, of course, has one being in BRICS, but what country? What specifically?
I'm sorry. Please rephrase the question for me. I got lost there.
There's several. I'll rephrase it differently. There's several countries that went live with UPI, which is our FedNow. So there's several countries that most of us have their currencies went live with UPI in January. What are those countries?
Oh, top of my head, I want to say China. I want to say Indonesia.
What currencies do you have? Go ahead.
I believe that Iraq and Vietnam are also included in UPI.
Absolutely. And one more.
Venezuela?
Absolutely. Yep.
Did I get those correct? Was that accurate?
You got it correct. Yes, you got it.
Okay, and so you're saying that last January that the UPI went live, and on January 1st this year, we're anticipating something for January 1st of coming up of 2025.
Where did you get that from?
No. I'm sorry. I just misunderstood what you had said right there about January. I wanted to make sure I didn't.
January of 2024. The countries you mentioned, what are countries that went live and connected to UPI? You just mentioned them.
Okay.
What countries you just mentioned?
Vietnam, Iraq, Venezuela, Indonesia, India, China.
And yet, Iraq, Vietnam, Venezuela, and 8 other countries went live, which on the UPI system, which is our equivalent of the FedNow, which gives them the ability to instantly transact currency exchanges, money transfers, so forth and so on. Correct?
Yes.
Now, you asked about Venezuelan Boulevard. So, what now, knowing that they are connected to UPI, when the time comes, if they're connected to an instant payment system that is connected to every other country around the world through this system, what would they be able to do when the time comes with their currency?
When that happens, I ought to be able to go to a bank that's connected with FedNow, have it coordinate with the UPI to be able to do an exchange.
Man, I want to give you a high five and a boom right now. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's really terrific. That's really terrific. And like I said, we frequently talk about, we frequently include the word bolivar in with dong and dinar, but I was trying to like the name says, follow the bouncing ball in regards to Venezuela. And that was one of the reasons why I couldn't understand, when you go to the XD exchange website, you see Iraq's at 1310. You see that the Vietnamese dong is at, 24,400 or something like that. But the bolivar has an extremely high exchange rate right now on the XE. It's just not exchangeable.
Correct. Yeah, but of course we're going through a global process of the QFS interconnecting, protocols that are still interconnecting, regulations that are still coming down the pipe. Once all of those things are on to the system, and as gold, especially as today, where Goldilocks, made it be known that, of course, we're looking for interest rates from the Fed to be lowered, and gold reached an all-time high today again. It seems like every other month, gold has been going up. But as precious metals such as gold begin to rise and regulations begin to continue to move through the systems, we'll begin to see things moving. We just have to allow it to go through its process. But to summarize and to make sure you're very clear, now you understand why Boulevard, Dinar, the Dong is mentioned, is because they're on the same system.
Okay.
Payment system.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been an honor and a privilege to speak with you today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, I know. I think that helped a lot of people, actually. So thanks for the question.
Great question. And that was, yes, fabulous question, because people may not really know, Wiley, why they don't. A lot of people probably don't know that Iraq, Vietnam, and Venezuela connected to a system in January that will eventually allow them all to transact internationally. A lot of people just may not know. So, great question.
There you go, making sense again, Freedom.
All right, so we got some more questions. I see a few people have had their hand up for a while, and so I am. Oh, AA Flight. You had your AA Flight 151. You had your hand up very early, and I see the rest of you will be coming to you as well. Hey, AA Flight. You can unmute.
Hey, gentlemen. Just want to say thanks, Freedom Fighter and Wiley and Jester, for all of your input and information, and Goldilocks also. Thanks for your service, Wiley. Question. After you guys made all your money, did you have to go to comedy college to actually try to do what you're doing now?
No.
Because
people really want to know why? You go ahead.
Because you folks are having so much fun, and that's why you gotta love you. Gotta love you. You're having too much fun here. So now let me get to the question, because I know you got other people that want to ask the question. So, and I have connected with somebody that I'm, connected with to kind of move through the wealth management process, and that's always come from information from Goldilocks and you guys. The question is trusts, in regards to trust early on, trust to drop your money in, or wait for the money to come, and what's your views? Thanks, guys.
Well, if you know how you want to be structured, yeah. I mean, if you know exactly what you're going to do and you have that plan and you have it very ironed out, and what I mean by that is on paper, you know exactly what you're going to do, and you understand that, hey, a couple of these will benefit me, and having a trust, go that route. If you don't know, then I wouldn't advise it. Trusts are a little different to work out of, and a lot of people don't know how to work out of those. And there's different rules around that. So if you do think you need a trust, or once you get to that attorney or trust attorney or whatever, and you can broach that conversation with them, and you start looking at taxes and things like that, that's the person who's going to be able to help you to say, hey, we could create this and do some things here within the trust and save you, some offset taxes and things like that. But right now, no, nobody in this needs a trust at this point.
Great. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that, because I do know what I want to do, but at the same time, that helps a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Let me explain real quick where the comedy comes from, if I can. when you're in the military, you have a pretty serious job. And by that, I mean we break things. It's not a nice job. And what you do and how you take that stress and how you take, because it's not a matter of when you're going to get hurt or if you're going to get hurt, it's when you're going to get hurt. And it'll happen. But you stand next to your brother in arms every single day and you deal with that, and that's on your mind. We use comedy to make each other laugh. And we sit there and we try to think of the most insane jokes or the most insane things you can say to make the brother next to you laugh, because they're all going through exactly what you're going through. And we use humor to get us through that. So that's where a lot of that comes from. And I know my humor's a little dry, but that's just me. I mean, but that's where that comes from. And I'm glad you appreciate it. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but that's how I was stretched.
So yeah, I appreciate it a lot because I was a medic fireman for 30 years. So yeah,
so you get it. You get it.
When's the pizza coming?
He's been paying attention, Wiley.
Yeah. But thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate that.
Yes, indeed. Oh. Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RVGCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RVGCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RVGCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.